In the headlines, a major private sector event to position the body to better support Dominica's climate resilience agenda. The discovery of close to 100 contractors in the country sparks interest in a database. And a February deadline for OECS citizens to give feedback on a draft harmonized land registration bill. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this.
In keeping with Dominica's vision to become the first climate resilient country in the world, your government has decided to ban single-use plastic and styrofoam effective 1st of January 2019 to ensure that we set an example in the region of leadership in the area of climate resilience.
I came to Dominica 25 years ago, and one of the things that attracted me to Dominica was the nature and the pristine environment. Over the years, we're starting to see more and more plastic show up in that environment. So I think this is a very, very necessary step, banning the use of plastics so that we can keep our pristine environment, have a healthier community, and an image that's more in line with a nature island.
While Dominique is a local environmental conservation organization, and we've been around for about a year now, and in that time, we have removed about 3 tons of plastic waste from the coastline.
We have been doing this because of the detrimental effect that plastic has on our environment, like killing thousands of our wildlife, causing our soil to be infertile, poisoning our waterway, and in turn harming us.
We commend the government for its recent plastic ban and look forward to working with the government for cleaning up our nature island.
Conventional polymer stays in the environment for 450 years, as opposed to a biodegradable product which would last 3 months in your environment. Imagine all that material being brought to a composting facility. It would mean that we would have less material coming to the landfill. It would mean that the 2 tons of material that we are receiving on the landfill could be diverted to a compost facility. This would improve our space on our landfill and the lifespan. We at the corporation definitely welcome the ban on the importation of single-use plastics and styrofoam products on the Commonwealth of Dominica. And we look forward to other initiatives that will help promote sound waste management on the island of Dominica.
While the plastic ban is definitely a positive for us, we as a people must continue to be cognizant of how we dispose of our waste and always seek to reduce, reuse, and recycle. A message from the Ministry of Environment, Climate Resilience, Disaster Management and Urban Renewal, and the Ministry of Tourism and Culture.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil. Anywhere you are. There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, Acting Festival and Events Manager of the Dominica Festivals Committee, Marva Williams, says she is pleased with the number of bands and groups that have registered for Saturday's opening parade. The opening parade will take on a modified format this year, as the procession will be sectioned off in the categories of pageantry, traditional groups, contemporary mass, advertising floats, juve groups, and strictly local. Speaking to the media earlier this week, Williams says she is impressed with the number of traditional groups which will be on the road on Saturday and is confident that the overall product displayed will be spectacular.
If we pay attention to the participants, we'll realize that we have groups from the north of the island, the south of the island, the east, the west, which is a plus for what we are trying to get to for the opening parade. Like I stressed, the traditional mass is the uniqueness of the opening parade. That's why we kind of have it as the second display. So if spectators, patrons come late in terms of seeing the parade, at least they will not miss out on that part of the parade. I'm quite comfortable that the display is going to be amazing on Saturday, and with the grace of God, we will have great weather like we have today.
Williams also encouraged the public to patronize the ceremony which follows the opening parade.
We will begin with an official program where we'll have certain stakeholders speak to the carnival and what it is hopeful that the carnival will be like, and that will include the symbolic handing over of the keys to the city from the mayor of Rosal. After that, we will have a mini band splash. It will feature a virtual band, the first serenade band, and the Triple K band. Just for a contribution of $10 adults and $5 children, which will go a long way, in helping traditional groups putting together kiddies carnival and so during the season.
The opening parade starts at 3 p.m. on the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard and ends at the Winter Park Stadium forecourt, which is Carnival City. In other top stories, close to 100 small contractors have been identified in Dominica. This from a survey conducted by the Builders and Contractors Association of Dominica, BCAD, in 2018. President of BCAD, Anthony LeBlanc, says the survey was necessary to chart the way forward for those in the construction industry.
We organized a survey of contractors to get data. We did it in May of 2018. And we went out to find out who were there, who were the players, what were their capacity, how they were organized, what are their needs, how we could help them. And we found close to 100 small contractors that we could register, have their contacts and so on. From there and from their needs, we developed a training program for contractors. The aim was to get contractors up to speed administratively and legally to make sure that they register the business, encourage them to register the business, encourage them to pay Social Security, VAT and taxes, to work with them and to train them, give them insights on tendering, the labor laws.
LeBlanc pointed out that the high demand for builders after Hurricane Maria created the need for a database of dependable contractors in the country.
Because we wanted to, if a contractor comes to you and say, I'm a registered BCAD member, we wanted to say to you, that person have what it takes to have a business as a contractor and to perform well for you. Unfortunately, we didn't have many attended, although from the survey, the majority of people say, yes, that's what we want, do it. But it's our Dominican scenario.
The BCAD president believes more emphasis should be placed on training the workforce in the construction industry to avoid homeowners paying exorbitant prices for rebuilding.
It's a decade now that we have been mourning that there have not been trained personnel to employ, and those we have, the schools have not been great in bringing them up to speed, and therefore we need to upgrade. It hasn't done. We see what happened after Maria. Homeowners in particular were affected. People paid exorbitant prices for repairs, and that was from a lot of persons who posed as contractors, and some of them were because contractors had to pay exorbitant prices, inflated prices for labor. And some of it was because we had some foreign agents who came in here, posed as good contractors, some of them never delivered, and we have a lot of homeowners suffering, and all because we have failed to improve our workforce.
LeBlanc says among plans for BCAD in 2019 is continuing its drive for CVQ training and getting small contractors more interested in developing their business. In more developments, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank says it remains open to receiving feedback on the draft harmonized land registration bill until the end of February this year.
The draft harmonized land registration bill is the outcome of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union's electronic conveyance system project sponsored by the ECCB. The idea behind the initiative is to overhaul the land registration systems of the ECCU. It will also facilitate the enhancement of the region's competitiveness by creating a more modernized property transfer system.
Currently, there are two different systems as it relates to land registration within the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. There's what is considered to be the registered land system, which Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia and Montserrat have. We also have the unregistered land system, which is St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada. And then we have both Dominica as well as St. Kitts and Nevis having both a registered land system and an unregistered land system. So you could see the diversity that exists. And those were the discussions that were had with the committee.
The project will also create efficiency in land registration, improvements in land use by governments, and easier valuation and taxation systems.
So the central bank would have actually engaged the services of a legal drafting team, a consultancy team, led by Mr. John Ilu Charles of Dominica. He would have also been supported by Mr. Anthony Commodore, as well as Ms. Catherine Faustin. Both Mr. Charles and Mr. Commodore are both legal drafters with a number of years of experience, and Ms. Catherine Faustin is also a registrar, former registrar, who has significant experience as it relates to land transactions in Dominica. So those three persons would have formed the consultancy team who would have led as it related to this project, and of course engaging with the ECCB and collaborating with the ECCB on this matter. This project would have actually entailed 3 different phases. There was a desk review phase, there was a field research phase, and there was a legislative drafting phase. We've actually arrived at the end of the project, and right now we're embarking upon an intensive program of consultations. So as it related to both the desk review as well as the field research phase, the team would have actually had 2 meetings with chief parliamentary councils and legal drafters representing the governments of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union as well as the land registrars of the ECCU. And those meetings were geared towards discussing the findings of the consultancy team and also discussing the draft bill. Those meetings would have taken place in March 2018, and the second one would have taken place in August 2018.
The harmonized land registration laws would provide significant benefits for people within the ECCU who own land or plan on acquiring land or property.
In more news, Prime Minister Skerrit has responded to concerns about the sustainability of the Citizenship by Investment Program, or CBI.
52% of total government revenue over the fiscal year 2018-2019 is expected to come from the CBI program. Responding to a question on alternative avenues being explored to boost economic growth, the Prime Minister noted that one can also realize shortfalls in projected VAT revenue, so the issue of sustainability is not limited to CBI funds. He, however, noted that the real issue was how CBI money was being utilized.
What we have been doing with the CBI funds is to invest in the infrastructure, to facilitate commerce, to facilitate investments. We're using the CBI funds to build hotels, many of which are under construction and many of which will open the doors in 2019. That will create the sustainable jobs you need and the sustainable income that you will get. We also have put monies into the Aid Bank for Agriculture to invest in agriculture. Okay, to invest in agriculture. We put in monies to invest in the manufacturing industry, $15 million. The monies we invested, the $2 million US which we invested in DCP came from the CBI funds. All of the bridges and roads that we invested in coming from the CBI funds. We have placed a significant sum aside for the construction of international airport. The funds for our marketing, a lot of it, with the increase in the marketing budget, these funds come from the CBI funds. We are paying for the education of our children in Dominica, utilizing the CBI funds, investing in human capital, investing in our young people so that they can use those skills and knowledge to build a sustainable economy.
Mr. Skerrit says he agrees nothing lasts forever, but the issue is using CBI money wisely. Case in point, he says, is that part of that money is being used to pay down the country's external debt.
So if we reduce our debt, we'll have more money now from our fiscal position to invest in our country. And of course, we're investing in our social safety nets to provide for the vulnerable, to provide for our senior citizens.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil. Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Welcome back. The private sector will be better positioned to support Dominica's climate resilience agenda after its first major event for the year. The Eggs and Issues breakfast will focus on the Climate Resilience Executing Agency of Dominica, CRED, and its vision for a resilient Dominica. Lizra Fabian, Executive Director of the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, DAIC, says through this forum, the private sector will be better positioned to understand and benefit from the opportunities available through CRED.
DIC saw that this would be the opportune moment for our private sector to learn about the opportunities that are possible in collaborating with CRED, or really understanding more of what CRED is about so that we can be positioned rightly. We have invited the CEO of CRED, Ms. Pepekwe Badwell, to be our guest speaker at this event, and we are pleased that she accepted our invitation so that she can present to our private sector and we can engage so that we can move forward in a more informed and enlightened manner.
Fabian says the DAIC membership and other stakeholders are looking forward to engaging the CRED executive on the way forward for the CRED and private sector partnership.
The feedback has been overwhelming. We've almost reached our quota in terms of numbers for this event, and we're very pleased because persons have really been registering, and this is great that they're really interested in the topic that we have selected, and it's of great value to them. Not just even our members, but also other business persons and other stakeholders. They're really interested in understanding, because it's the first time that the CEO of CRED is meeting any public group of persons, so we're really happy that she could be a part of our event. In terms of CRED and its execution, DIC is one of the key stakeholders in Dominica, and we have always shown ourselves as being willing to work with any organization or any initiative for the development of Dominica. So this is no other, and DIC, we've been presenting our support and lending support wherever necessary in the furtherance of CRED in Dominica.
The DAIC's Eggs and Issues breakfast is carded for Wednesday, 23rd January at the Prevost Cinemall. And no date set yet for general elections, but Dominicans know it is coming. General elections are due next year, but if past elections are any indication, it is not entirely far-fetched for elections to be called this year. Dominicans can agree that there is a lot of debate on various topics of interest on local radio stations. But a debate on issues between the Prime Minister and leader of the opposition, many might be interested in watching. The question remains, will Dominicans see such a debate this time around? The Prime Minister recently spoke on that issue.
I reached out to the opposition in 2015 in an internationally unprecedented manner. There is no country in the region and no government in the world that has reached out to the opposition in the manner which I did, and I have continued to do. Where we invited all elected members of Parliament to almost form a national government, because I guard the Ministry of Finance and my responsibility as Minister of Finance very jealously, and I always maintained there should only be one Minister of Finance in the country at any one time. But after Tropical Storm Erica, I ended up having 21 Ministers of Finance, which meant that every elected member of Parliament was given a blank check to spend to respond to the disaster. And I did so with a genuine desire to bridge the political divide and to show the citizens that we can work together. We can disagree on certain things, but there's some things that we can agree on and work together. And I've done so in numerous national consultations. I broke protocol, for example, when we were discussing the CRED, and the leader of the opposition spoke after me. And I gave him the same amount of time as the Prime Minister. Nobody speaks after the Prime Minister in a forum, especially an event that is held by by the Prime Minister. I gave him equal time to speak on this. We had the cannabis consultation. He was invited. He did not speak, but he was invited. Recently at the National Independence Address, I indicated the desire of the government to address a wrong in society where and how we treat with past leaders. I wrote to the Leader of Opposition asking him to suggest a name. He wrote in his usual form with all sorts of things that are not necessary, and never offered to represent to anybody on the opposition side to be part of the committee. So the government is going to do it alone. Every opportunity I've given Mr. Linton to be part of a national discourse, he has reduced it to internecine politics, strife and negativism, and never been really serious about engaging. So I am open to engaging anybody on national issues. But I don't think Mr. Linton understands his role as leader of the opposition, and his functions, and the great responsibility and the seriousness of the responsibility which that office holds.
To end the news, the headlines again. A major private sector event to position the body to better support Dominica's climate resilience agenda. The discovery of close to 100 small contractors sparks interest in setting up a database. And a February deadline for OECS citizens to give feedback on a draft harmonized land registration bill. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Andrea Lee, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.